A very good morning, students. Welcome back to Java programming class. In the previous session, we have discussed about the java.lang package, language package, and we discussed the different classes in that java.lang package. Mostly we focused on the object class, the very important class in java.lang package, and we have also seen some of the wrapper classes. Like your primitive data types, how we can convert those primitive data types into class objects. Okay, we said for every primitive data type we have a class associated, and whenever you want to perform, whenever you want to convert the primitive data type into object, just go for the object, just create the object reference of that primitive class, that wrapper class object. Okay, that wrapper class object we need to create in order to convert the primitive data type into object. Okay, the phenomenon we discussed in detail, and we said the conversion from primitive data type to object, it was explicit before Java 7.0, but after Java 7.0 the conversions are automatic. Okay, we no need to do anything in order to convert the primitive data type into object. Just create the object of wrapper class and assign your primitive data type value to that object. So what will happen over there? Automatically the primitive data type value will be converted into object and will be stored inside the wrapper class object. So this we said auto boxing, isn't it? Because the conversion is taking place automatically, so that's the reason we have given the name over there, auto boxing. Then we have also discussed the unboxing concept, and we said unboxing is also implicit now. After Java 7.0, it is implicit now. So we no need to go for any explicit thing to do over there in order to convert your primitive type into object, and the same thing, the vice versa process. Okay. So quickly, in today's session, we will be discussing the util package, another important package in Java programming, that is java.util package. Okay, we have different classes in that util package. We mainly focus on the scanner class, and after that we go for the string tokenizer. So when we are discussing about this string tokenizer, there is an important concept like string handling in Java. Okay, so not only we need to discuss about the string tokenizer, but there are other classes. How we handle strings in Java, that we need to discuss. Okay, so string handling in C we have discussed, string handling in C++ we have discussed, and string handling in Java also we will discuss. Because string is a special type of data, we can say, in any programming language. Okay, we have numbers, we have characters, we have floating point values, we have different things, we have boolean values, we have different types of values in our real world to deal with them in our programming languages. But when it comes to strings, it is a special type of data value, and how we gonna handle these strings in Java, that is nothing but in what sort of classes we have and what sort of predefined methods we have in order to handle strings in Java programming, that we need to discuss. Hopefully in today's session we will be completing the scanner class. Okay, and the string handling in Java. The other classes, like we have the date class, and we have bit set, we have calendar, we have timer. Okay, these four classes we will see in our next session, because string handling, I don't think I'm able to complete it is a very big concept basically, and we are seeing questions in your previous year university question paper. We are seeing questions from this topic. Okay, string handling topic. So that's the reason I thought of completing that also as early as possible, so that you can do the preparation for that. So This bit set, date, calendar, timer class we will do in one more session, and then the regular expressions in another session. Okay, so I thought of completing this in two more sessions, but I'm thinking it will take another 3 to 4 sessions. Okay, because as we have included more topics, and by seeing the previous year question papers, we have included a few important topics as well. Because of that reason, it is taking more time. There is no other thing. Okay, otherwise it would have completed before, uh, more earlier than as we expected. Okay, so quickly we go and we see the scanner class of your java.util package, and then we go for string handling. Okay, so java.util package, it is also one of the important package in Java, and it is also having a collection of classes, collection of interfaces, and the what we call fields, enumerations, exceptions, and errors. Okay, all that description about this java.util package, if you want in detail, you can go for Java docs. Already I showed you in my yesterday's class how to access that Java docs for the complete description of your Java packages. Okay, so java.util package, in that we are discussing the scanner class. Okay, don't think that it is having only the scanner class and whatever classes it is listing over here. It is not like that. Your util package, it is a very huge package. Okay, so there are few concepts in Java. In order to complete those concepts, even the semester is not enough. I'm not talking about the entire Java programming. I'm talking about that package itself. In order to complete one single package, it will take a whole semester. Okay, so that much huge. The packages concept in Java. Okay, so that's the reason they have made the stuff specific over here. They are asking us to discuss only the specific number of classes from the package, and don't go for the entire classes. Entire list of classes or entire list of packages in Java. Okay, so we need to discuss the scanner, string tokenizer, bit set, date, calendar, timer. This 6 classes we need to discuss in your java.util package, and today's session will go with the scanner part and the string tokenizer part. Okay, about this string tokenizer, we also discuss about string class, because it is also one of the important class in util package, string builder, and there are other classes associated with string handling that we see in our today's class. So we simply call it as a string handling. Also, we try to complete in today's session string handling along with this scanner and string tokenizer. So scanner class. Okay, you found this scanner class under java.util package. Okay, where this class is existing in the sense under java.util package. Your Java, it provides various ways to read the input from the keyboard. So whenever you are reading the input, so from the keyboard, in our what we call C language, we have a specific function like scanf, and in our C++ we have cin. But here in Java, the reading input from the keyboard, it is somewhat a complex job. So far whatever programs we have done, in those programs we have not seen how to read the input from the keyboard. Okay, so because it requires a type of proficiency in this Java language, and at the early stage, that type of proficiency we are not expecting from the students, because they need to know the knowledge of objects, they need to know the knowledge of constructors, they need to know the knowledge of these type of buffers. Okay, because of that reason, we kept this reading input from the keyboard concept on hold, and in today's session we will discuss. So how we're going to read different types of inputs from the keyboard, and how we're going to store that input in our program variables or in our program data fields. Okay, and the java.util, this is not the only way what we are discussing in today's session. This is not the only way. There are various ways to read the input from the keyboard, and this is one such way, we can say. Okay, don't think that this is the only way available, like how we are reading in C language. Okay, we have only scanf, and I mean, if you want, you can read using fscanf also. Okay, that is somewhat a different procedure. Using fscanf, how we can read the keyboard input, that is a different thing. But over here, this is not the only way. We have various ways to read the keyboard input, but this is one such way we are saying. Okay, so the java.scanner class breaks the input into tokens. So whenever you are reading the input, there should be a way to break the input. Okay, otherwise what will happen? Whatever you type inside the I mean, on your terminal, when you are giving the input, whatever you type, everything will be considered like an input only, isn't it? Even if you are typing the enter key, even if you are typing the escape key, whatever you type, everything will be considered like an input, because whatever keys we are pressing on the keyboard, they will pass the characters only to your program, isn't it? Even if you press the enter key, it will pass the character only. Even you press the escape key, it will also pass a character only. So every key will be read like a character inside your program. So there should be a mechanism to divide. I mean, there should be a mechanism to break the input. Okay, or there should be a mechanism to divide the input into number of tokens. And what are these tokens? When we do practically, you will understand. Tokens are nothing but the portions. Okay, portions from your input. Okay, whatever input you are passing, how you are dividing your input, what characters you are placing in between the words or in between the input parts. Okay, we should say input parts. Okay, what characters, what special characters you are placing between the input parts, so that they will be considered like different inputs rather than a single input, so that they will be considered like a different inputs. So that character, it may be a space, it may be an enter key, it may be something else. Okay, so that we will see in our today's session. Okay, so Java scanner class breaks the input into tokens using a delimiter, which is white space by default. Okay, by default it is a white space, and if you want to put a special character over there other than white space, like if you want to give I mean, new line character, or if you want to give an hyphen, if you want to give a forward slash, like that also you can divide your input tokens. Okay, so breaking the input tokens into number of tokens using a delimiter, and that delimiter by default is a white space. Okay, as I said, it not only white space, it provides many methods to read input and parse various primitive values. Parsing is nothing but converting the input into a specific data type value. Okay, here we have what things we have to note over here, in the sense white space by default will be considered like a delimiter in your input, and we have various methods to parse the input into primitive data type values. Okay, primitive data type values. Parsing is nothing but generally whatever input you are reading, that input we are converting into primitive types, because primitive types we have integer, character, float, double, boolean. Likewise we have primitive types, and whatever data we are reading from the keyboard, it will be like a stream, and we need to convert that stream into primitive types, and that process is nothing but the parsing. Okay, understand the parsing concept, like from the stream we are getting primitive types. Okay, so the scanner class is widely used to parse text of strings and primitive types using a regular expression. So generally we use regular expressions. That's the reason we have the last concept like regular expressions in your fourth unit. Okay, in order to parse the input, I mean, in order to convert the input, we use the different types of regular expressions, and that regular expressions we will discuss in the last concept. Okay, so yeah, as I said, we have a number of ways to read the input from the keyboard, but using the scanner class is one of the simplest way. Okay, that is why we are discussing about this scanner class only. So using scanner class to read the input from the keyboard is the simplest way. Okay, by the help of scanner in Java, we can get the input from the user in primitive types such as integer, long, double, byte, float, short, whatever primitive types we have. All those primitive type data values you can read from the keyboard into your Java program. Okay, or we can say simply we can parse all these primitive types. Okay, your scanner object or scanner class is allowing us to parse these type of data values. That's the reason, and it is the simplest way, one of the simplest way to read the input from the keyboard. Okay, and as usual, as we said, all the classes, whatever predefined, user defined, they will extend the properties from object class. Okay, they will extend the properties from object class. So your scanner class is also going to extend the object class, and it is also implementing two interfaces. Okay, one object class it is extending, and it is implementing two interfaces like iterator and closable. Okay, sorry, it is clonable interface, not closable, clonable interface. It is implementing two interfaces. One is iterator interface and clonable interface. Okay, and inside Java, I mean inside this scanner class, we have different methods in the form next followed by the primitive type. So whatever primitive type you want to convert, that primitive type you have to place in place of this triple X. Okay, so next followed by that primitive type will convert the input, whatever you are reading, will convert next int. Let us say if you are saying next int, so it will wait for integer input. If you say next byte, it will wait for byte input. Next short input. Okay, next line. Okay, complete line it will read. Next double, next float. All these method descriptions you can get from the java.docs. Okay, java docs. The documentation. Okay. To get a single character from the scanner, you can use only the next or character at 0. Okay, it will, these two methods will read only a single character from the input screen. Unlike the bulk of characters, they will read only a single character into your program application. Okay, hopefully you understood. So this is the declaration for scanner class. Okay, the scanner class is extending the object class and implementing the iterator. Okay, it is also implementing clonable. So, but here they have given only one iterator. So you remember, it will also implement the what we call the clonable interface. Two interfaces it is implementing, and one class it is extending. And by default, the scanner class it is final. Okay, final in the sense, from this class you cannot extend any further classes. Okay, that's the reason the class type is final. Okay, so how to get Java scanner into our program? So scanner, how to create a scanner so that it will read the input from the keyboard. To get the instance of Java scanner which reads input from the user, we need to pass the input stream, because we said whatever input we are reading in the form of stream only we are reading. So whatever thing we generate on the output screen with the help of keyboard, it will be treated like a stream. So we need to handle that stream. We need to read that string, and we need to stream, and we need to convert that stream into primitive types. And for the conversion, we are using different set of methods, next xxx methods, next xxx type of methods. The purpose of using those methods is they will parse the stream into primitive types. Okay, so and that stream, whatever you will generate on the output screen, it will be like system.in, standard input. We call it as standard input, system.in. So that system.in stream you need to pass when you are creating the constructor, I mean when you are creating the object of scanner class. If you are creating the object of scanner class, what we need to do? Simply pass that system.in to your scanner class constructor, so that you will not get any issues over there. Okay, so for example, you can see we have taken the class name scanner, and we are creating the object in. My object type, my object name is in over here, in. So equals to new will allocate the memory, and we are calling the scanner class constructor. Okay, scanner of this system.in is nothing but your stream, input stream. Okay, from this stream only we are going to read the input into our program. Okay, in this object, and we invoke different methods on these on this in object. Okay, so that to convert this, so that to parse this input stream into primitive types. Hopefully you understood. So to get an instance of the string, okay, instead of reading the input from the keyboard, so you can even pass a complete string as an stream over here, as a stream over here. As you can see here, I am passing hello Java point. So this entire thing will go like a stream to your scanner constructor. Okay, like a stream to your scanner constructor, and that scanner constructor will be assigned to this in whatever memory it will create, whatever memory it will generate, that memory in reference will be instantiated to this in object, and using this in object you can manipulate the elements from this input. Okay, so these are all the constructors of your scanner class. You can even give a file source if you want to read the values from the specified file. You can even give the file source followed by the string if you want to read the input from the file source. Okay, input stream you can pass, and yeah, different forms of constructors we have. Any readable any readable source you can put as in form of as a parameter or as an argument to this scanner class constructor. Okay, so then these are the methods. We have a very big list of methods inside this scanner class. So here I have listed few. Okay, if you want the complete thing, you can go for the Java docs. Okay, complete description, you can go for Java docs. And as I said, nobody will ask you to write the specific methods description in your examinations. Rather, they will give you the generalized type of questionnaire, so that you can remember any 5 to 10 methods from every class, and you can put those methods in the in your answers. Okay, nobody will see whether you are writing all the, because remembering all the methods in every class, it is a very difficult job. Okay, we can't remember. So that's the reason they have given the specific number of classes, and in that specific number of classes on also we have very huge bulk of list of methods. Like in this scanner class, I guess we have around 39 methods. If you go to the Java docs, you can check over there. We have around 39 methods inside this java.util.scanner class. So remembering those 39 methods with description, with parameters, with return values, it is very hectic job. Okay, so take any 5 important methods like I have noted over here, and just remember their names, remember their description, parameters, and return values. That's more than enough. Okay, so quickly we see a demonstrating program. So where we read a line, okay, where we read a line from the output screen into the program, and we print that line on the output screen. Okay, once again we are reading input from the keyboard and we are displaying it on the output screen. So quickly I will try to frame that code. I'm taking a sample Java program, and what will be, okay, scanner example we are practicing. Okay, we need to include import the Java dot, as we are practicing util programs. Java dot util dot star. So your scanner class is part of util package, so you will get that class into your program. Now scanner demo. Okay, scanner demonstrating we are doing. So scanner demo. Now create the scanner object. Scanner in is equals to new scanner of system dot in. Okay, system dot in will give you the standard input stream reference over there. So that standard input stream reference we are assigning to scanner class object, scanner class instance, that is in. So using this in, now I can perform the read operation into my program, into my Java program. So now you see system dot out dot println of enter what is that? Enter your name, anything. Enter your name, close it like this. Okay. Now we see yes, how we can read it. How we can read it into a variable? You need to assign that to a string, because it will return, your next line method will return like a string. So that string we need to assign str name, string name, equals to in dot next line method we need to invoke. So that string name I'm printing over here, your name colon, and put the string. That's it. Save this program with the scanner demo.java. Okay, scanner demo.java we are saying, hit the enter key. Program got saved. Now go to tools, Java compiler. Yes, we are getting some issues. Acha, so I wrote that thing like how we use the printf. Okay, so here what we have to do, here instead of comma we need to put plus. Okay, so that error only, because we need to concatenate. Okay, you can see now there are no issues. Just go and run the program. So it is asking me to input my name. So if I give like Muhammad, hit enter, your name Muhammad, like this. It is reading the input from the keyboard, it is reading the string from the keyboard, and it is printing on the output screen. So if I give, we will check, I mean with space we will check, because we are reading line. So with space we will check whether how it will parse that. Okay, so CSE department. Okay, CSE department. So like a with space we are giving two words, and we are separating those two words with space. And as we are reading line, we will see, yes, the space it is not considering as the token to delimit. Okay, instead what it is doing, it is considering, because we are reading line now, next line we said. So instead of next line, if you have used any other what we call method, the concept will be different. That example also we will see after this. Okay, so it is including space also when it is reading the string. This thing you remember. So next we have in our, yes, this scanner example, this scanner class example, what it is doing, it is taking one string, and that string we are passing to the scanner constructor, and boolean result we are has next, we are checking inside that scanner, and scan next line we are checking. Then after that we are reading input from the keyboard for different types of inputs. Okay, so this program we will practice, and while writing this program I will try to explain what we are doing. So quickly go and yeah, just convert this same program. Here you just remove this. Okay, just remove this. So delete. So now create the scanner class object. Scanner in is equals to new scanner of system dot in off. Okay, so after this create one string. We have created one string. Okay, string str is equals to, okay, string str is equal to assign the value hello Java programming. Close it. At the end put the semicolon. Now pass this str as an argument to your scanner. So instead of creating that, it's better to create the string first and then the scanner object, and in that scanner object put this str. So just remove this one from here and come down after this and put it here. And now instead of system.in, what we are doing, we are passing str. So in this in, we are checking whether it is having any boolean value. How we can? Has next. Okay, boolean result has next. whether it is having any element. Okay, check if the scanner has tokens, if it is having any elements, that we are checking over there. So how come? System dot out dot print ln of has more elements, like that, are boolean result, has more elements. Okay, has more elements. Here you add that has, sorry, in dot has next, in dot has next of, has next of, simply checking whether it is having more elements or not. Okay, more elements, where we are checking inside this str, inside this string, because we have given the input as a string, and in that input do we have any elements, that we are checking. So we will save this program with that same demo, scanner demo, and now go compile, because slowly, I mean one by one I will add and I will show you the input output. So then go and check the output. As you can say, it is saying true, so that means it is having more elements. So if I remove this entire thing and I will put an empty string, how to give an empty string? Simply put null into that string. So now what will happen? It should give false, right? So we will check whether it will give or something else it will give. It is saved. Okay, it is saying, because we are trying to access the elements from a null string. We are trying to access the elements from a null string, so it is raising an exception, null pointer exception it is raising. We are trying to access a null string, has more elements, has next, what it is doing, it is checking whether it is having more elements or not. So instead that, give an empty string. Null string is different thing and empty string is different thing. Okay, we are giving empty string now. Just compile. Okay, now maybe it will consider, see here it is giving false, that means it is not, I mean it is considering that as an empty string. So whatever you have given, it is considering that as an empty string, and it is checking whether it is having any elements into that one. Simply has elements in the sense, has next in the sense, it is checking whether it is having more elements or not, and if it is not having more elements, it is returning false. And if you are giving a null string, it is raising a null pointer exception. So that thing, so this I want here. Then go to the next statement. What do we have? Yes, we are checking next line. I mean, we are printing the same thing on the output screen. How we can print? System from the string, system dot out dot println. From the string, we are reading the entire thing. So string, given string or assigned string, and what we have assigned, that how we can read, in dot next line. Next line, we are reading the complete line, whatever we supplied as a stream to that scanner constructor. So we supplied the string as a stream to the scanner constructor. So that same thing we can expect inside the output. Okay, so you will get that same line of string. See, hello Java programming, the same thing we are getting. Next, now what we do, we modify our program and we create another string, another stream, another scanner stream, and from that scanner we will try to read the input into our program at different locations. Just see. Okay, system dot, just to decorate your program, I'm writing this line. Okay, enter your details. Okay, like this we have given. Then come down and create the scanner. In is equal, so this time no string, we are passing the standard input. How come? System dot in. So we are reading the input from the keyboard now. Previously we are reading from the string, now we are reading from the keyboard. Okay, so we have given system dot in. So next thing, yes, first we will try to read the name only. So system dot out dot println of enter your name, colon, close it like this, and then we are reading it using name, that is, how come? Take a string for reading the name. Okay, take a string str2 is equals to in dot next line method. Okay, for reading the string, reading the name, next line method. Then this will be stored, or else you can take here, because we are reading name, this will be stored inside name. So what details we are reading over here? Name we are reading, age we are reading, then the salary we are reading. Age of type integer, salary of type double. Remember this one. Okay, so quickly I will copy this code instead of writing again and again. Control C here. The next thing what we are doing, enter your age. Okay, enter your age, come down here, age as an integer we are reading, so next int of, and here also we need to change the variables age, and it is of type int. Okay, integer age is equals to, yeah, integer next int of. Next thing we need to read the salary, that is in double, isn't it? So enter your salary, come down here, sal of type double, and we are reading next double, next double. So like this. Okay, so then after this, uh, your details, we are printing the details now. Okay, here you put your details, give some decoration, and your details are, your details are, again you give these things and go to the end and hit enter key, system.out.println. Yeah, we will print all the details. Like first we print the name, name colon close plus, we have the value inside name variable, names. Then print age, age we have the age into age. Okay, then we have salary in sal, that's a double value. Okay, like this we are printing all the details, reading all the details from the keyboard and printing all the details onto the keyboard. So next line we are saying it will read the complete line, and next next int when we are saying it will read only one integer value, and next double when we are saying it will read another integer, another double value. Okay, save, go to the output screen, compile. The compilation, it is scanner in is equals to already defined. Okay, so we are redefining it. So here you take something else, like it is from the string we are reading now, so put str over here, and here also from the string we are reading, so str, here also str. Okay, so redeclaration of the same variable is not allowed in any programming language, so that we have done. So it gave me the error report, and now okay, variable str is already defined in method main. Once again, acha, string args we said, here str we have defined, so string 1, string 1. Now we try. Okay, no issues. Simply the variable name conflict occurred in my program, that I have changed. I gave some different names to my variables, so hopefully it will resolve our issue. So now it is asking me, has more elements true, and assigned string hello Java programming, and it is asking me to enter your details. First it is asking me to enter the name. Okay, I'm giving like Muhammad, my name I'm giving. Then enter your age, it is saying, so something I'm entering. Then salary it is asking, something I'm giving. Okay, hit enter, then it will print the details. As you can see, name it is reading like a lion, so it is reading the space also, and whatever we are giving after the space, that also it is reading. And until and unless we are hitting the enter key, it is reading the complete line, because we said next line over there. Then it is reading the age, the 24 value. Then it is reading the salary, that some 5 lakhs or something it is there, that that value it is reading over there. Hopefully you understood this program. So go to the next one. After this, we have another example. Here also we are doing almost the same thing. Has next boolean. We are checking inside a string whether it is having next boolean value. So it is giving the error like false. It is saying that there is no boolean value in the string provided. Okay. Then use the delimiter. So in the string, instead of reading like a line, what we are doing, we are reading, with the help of these delimiters, we are reading the inputs. So that use delimiter, what it is doing, it is dividing our complete string into tokens, small tokens. And whenever you say has next, it will read one token from the provided what we call string. Okay, it will read one token from the provided string. Okay, so yeah, using delimiter we are reading the values. Okay, so then we will go for string handling. So we'll just practice this program also, because it is of important. So control Z and just remove this thing from here to here, delete it. Okay, so what we have done in that one. So first we are taking string str is equals to assign the string hello. Okay, delimiter we are using. Yes, this is my scanner. Take another delimiter and give my name is David. Okay, like this we have taken the scanner. Now create the scanner class object. Scanner in equals to scan. Scanner scan is equals to new scanner of str string we are passing. So now we are saying to the scanner, we are checking first whether it is having any system dot boolean value or not. System dot out dot println of checking boolean value, has more boolean values, boolean result. Okay, boolean result. Okay, we are checking in dot plus in, no, not in, scan dot has more boolean. Has next boolean or has more boolean? Has next boolean. So it is checking next value as a boolean value. Has next boolean. So if it is having a boolean value in that one, it will return true, but it is not having any boolean value. The scan, it is having the string, so it will return, ultimately it will return the false. Okay, that false you can see on the output screen. Then we are assigning the delimiter. First you just compile it and execute this program, so that to avoid the issues, compiler, no issues, then run. As you can see, it is giving false, boolean result false. It is not having any boolean value, so it is giving result as false. Next thing, we need to go for the assigning, because we are keeping delimiter inside our string. We are keeping delimiters, so you set the delimiter for your scanner. Okay, so scanner dot use delimiter. The method is scan dot use delimiter. Okay, so that delimiter we are saying to use the forward slash. Now what will happen? Take a loop to read all these things, tokens in the string. Okay, before that you print a message, system dot out dot println. We are printing the tokens from the string, so here tokens in the string are. Okay, tokens in the string are, close this. Now use the while loop, while of scan dot has next. Okay, if it is having next, it will become true. Has next, then simply print that one, system dot out dot print ln of scan dot next. Okay, scan dot next, we are printing that one. Okay, we are printing that one. Then after coming out, just check what delimiter it is having. So whatever delimiter we have assigned, print ln, okay, the used delimiter, what delimiter we have used in the program, that we can use, we can print scan dot, what is that, delimiter. Simply by delimiter method it will print the delimiter which we have used. Okay, save this program. Okay, now you compile, program compilation, it is successful. Go to run, see the output. So boolean result it is not having, because we applied the has next boolean method. So has next boolean method, it will check for the next boolean value inside the string, and inside the string we are having all the characters, we are not having any boolean value, so it is giving false output over here. Then whatever string we passed, that string we want to divide like tokens. Using the delimiter we are dividing into tokens. So that tokens, how it has divided, in the sense, first it is printing hello, then this is my scanner, then my name is David, because we used delimiter over here, and after hello we use the delimiter, and after scanner we use the delimiter. So that's the reason it is divided that complete string into 3 tokens. Using 2 delimiters, it is divided the complete string into 3 tokens. So in this way you can subdivide, you can even use the space as a token over there, delimiter over there. Okay, so then yeah, the used delimiter is the forward slash, then program execution is over. Okay, close it, then go back to your slides. Yeah, over here, yeah, this we have discussed. Then the string handling, as you know, string handling is nothing but manipulating the strings and discussing all the classes, all the interfaces, all the predefined methods associated with these strings in Java programming. Okay, we will discuss only the string handling in today's session, and as well as the string tokenizer class. Okay, with that we conclude the session. Then we will see in our next session the remaining concepts. Okay, the basic aim of string handling concept is storing the string data into the main memory, manipulating the data, and retrieving the parts of the string data. So what we do using string handling, string in any programming language, string handling means this one only. We store the string into the main memory, that is nothing but your random access memory, RAM, and there, when the string is available inside the main memory, we do some manipulations to that string, like adding new string, taking the sub portion of that string, counting the characters in that string. All these are manipulations. Comparing, concatenating, reversing. Okay, we discussed all these things in your first year also, we discussed. So those operations are nothing but the manipulation operations. You can perform these type of manipulating operations on the string. Okay, and after that, yeah, to do this, what methods we have and what strategies we follow, that we discuss over here. Okay, string handling will provide a lot of concepts that can be performed on strings, such as concatenation, comparison, reverse. Okay, all these things. Yes, basically whenever we go for arithmetic data, we can perform the arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulo division. Okay, finding the root, power to something like that we do on the numerical data. But when it comes to the string data, we can't do all those operations over here. And whenever we are talking about strings, we have a different set of operations, and those operations are nothing but the concatenation, comparison, reversing, counting the characters, all these type of operations, converting to uppercase, taking back to lowercase. Like this we can do the operations. Okay, printing the individual characters, counting the subdividing the string using delimiters. All these things we can perform on the string. Okay, Java string contains an immutable sequence of Unicode characters. Immutable in the sense not possible to change. Okay, not possible to change. Immutable in the sense not possible to change. We have different types of string classes which create different types of strings in our programming. One by one we will discuss. Some are mutable and some are immutable. Immutable in the sense you cannot change. Okay, you cannot change. Java string is differ from strings in C, C++, where in C and C++ string is simply a set of characters, or we can say the string is nothing but it is a character array. In C also the string is nothing but a character array, and in C++ also string is nothing but a character array. But when it comes to the Java, it is a object. It is an object, and moreover it is a class. Okay, it is an abstract entity. It is a class, and when you create the instance of that class, it will hold a string in your computer's memory, main memory. Okay, so Java string, how we are defining, it is like an abstract class we are defining, and it is encapsulated under the java.lang package. Okay, your string class, it is a part of your lang package, but whereas string tokenizer, it is util package. See, discussing utilize string tokenizer, it is the advanced concept. We have to go from the basic. So that's the reason this string class we are discussing. Then string builder we have four different types of classes related to strings. One by one we will discuss. Okay, immutable class in Java. Immutable meaning, okay, immutable means that once an object is created, we can't change its content. So fixed kind of final kind of thing. When you are creating the object, you can't change it. You can't add something to it. You can't delete something from it. So likewise, you can't change the object. Like whatever classes, user-defined classes we are creating, all those objects are mutable. If you create the object of those user-defined class, they are mutable. Mutable in the sense you can put some value into that object, you can retrieve some value from that object, you can delete some value from that object. All these type of operations you can perform on those objects. So that's the reason they are mutable. They are changeable. But when we are saying immutable class means if you are creating the object of this class, you can't change the content. You can't change the content of its object. Okay, your predefined classes like your string, integer, byte, short, float, double, and all other wrapper classes are immutable. Okay, they are immutable. Immutable means once the content is created, you can't change it. It is fixed. Okay, it is fixed. You have to remember this one. Okay, immutable classes, integer class, object you are creating, you are storing something into it, and once you store it will become like a fixed entity. You can't change it. Okay, so if you want to change it, once again you have to perform the unboxing. Unboxing means you have to store the content into a variable and you have to manipulate it, and once again if you are storing, create a new object of that wrapper class and store into that one. Once you are storing, you can't change it. That means directly you can't perform the operations on these wrapper classes. You have to go for the primitive types. Okay, perform the unboxing, because autoboxing and unboxing, anyhow these two operations are implicit now. We no need to do anything. So simply create an object. Whenever an object is required, simply create an object, pass that object, and whenever you want to perform some operations on that object, you can't perform. On the object you can't perform. So what you have to do, convert it into primitive type and perform operations on primitive type, and once again reassign it. Okay, like that. So the next thing, okay, character versus a string. Okay, it is an identifier enclosed within single quotes. Character is nothing but it is a kind of value. It is a kind of what we call fixed entity, constant, enclosed within single quotes. So you can see the examples, character A, dollar, character P, all these are the examples for characters. String is nothing but it is a sequence of characters enclosed within double quotes. Okay, like as you can see, example I have given, Java programming. This thing we know, okay, from our previous programming languages also we know this thing, the difference between character and a string. So in terms of value, both the things represent something in your programming. Okay, both the things will exist in the memory, both the things will represent something in your programming. They will have a proper meaning in our programming. When we are talking about a character, it is a graphical symbol, in your English language, and it stores, it consumes some memory when stored, and it represents something in your programming. Okay, so likewise, a string, it is a collection of characters enclosed within double quotes. Okay, strings in Java. In Java programming, to store the character data, we have a fundamental data type like char. We know this one. So already we used this thing many times. So to store the character, we have the primitive data type or fundamental data type, that is char. Using char, we can store the data, character data, into a variable. Char is the primitive type. Similarly, to store the string data and to perform various operations on string data. String data, how we are representing? We are enclosing it in double quotes. Remember this one. Okay. So when you have strings, to store these strings and to manipulate these strings, that is nothing but to perform the operations on this string, we have three predefined classes. Okay. We have three predefined classes. They are the string class, the string buffer class, the string builder class. There is a slight difference between these three classes. We discuss one by one these three classes along with their differences. Okay, first we go with the string class in Java. It is a predefined class under java.lang package, and it is used to handle the strings. Handling the string in the sense, we can say it is only used for storing the string. Okay, string class is immutable. Already we said, and now also we are discussing, the string class is immutable. Immutable in the sense you can't change the content once it is stored. Okay, you can't change the content once it is stored. Okay, or changing at the time of changing the content at the time of execution of the program, it is not possible. Okay, string class object is immutable. Okay, not only string class object, I mean, when the string class is immutable, that means if you create the object, that object will also become immutable, because having the object directly into the programming, it is not possible, isn't it? Into the program directly we can't have the class. What we have, we can have only the object. So object is immutable. That means when we create an object of string class, it never changes in the existing program, existing object. You can't change the content of an immutable object. So for that to show, a simple example is here. So we are creating a string class object by some string, by keeping some string into it. Then we are adding some more content to it. See here, we are creating the string using string class object, and I'm assigning this Java to this string. str will hold Java now. To that str, what I am doing? I am trying to concatenate software also. So when you print s, what you expect? You expect Java software, but what you will get? You will get only Java. Why? Means whatever modification you have done, whatever concatenation you have done at this point, it is completely not possible, because your string class object is immutable. So that's the reason it will not change its behavior. So here you come down and just add that content over here. Yes, here instead of okay, take like that only program name scanner demo, because I don't want to change my program name, so I'm taking the class name like scanner demo, but we are performing a different operation over here. I'm creating a string class str equals to new string of pass Java. Okay, close it, come down, perform str dot concatenate. Okay, concat. Okay, concat of here you put software. So I'm trying to add more string, I mean more part of string to it. Now print system.out.println of print that str. Now you see the output. When you save it and compile it, just see the output. We are expecting Java output, but how Java software, but how it will come? It will print only Java. It will not print that software. Okay, close it. Now run it. See here, Java only it is printing. Why it is not printing software? Means because whatever concatenation operation you performed, that is not adding this software to this Java. Why? Means because the string class object, it is immutable. You can't change the content. Once assigned, it will become like fixed. Okay. So these are all the methods, like length will count the number of characters. character at a particular location. If you want to see the character, that you can see two upper to convert into upper cases, two lower to convert it to lower cases, concat to combine two strings, but you can't combine, already you have seen. Equals to compare, equal ignore case means one is uppercase, one is lowercase. If both are both are having the same character and same alphabets, then it will show it like a true only, because we are ignoring the case. Okay, compare to method, compare to ignore case, all these things we have in order to see here. Total 17 methods we have. So demonstrating methods inside the string class, we have a program over there. In your notes you can refer that program. Simply whatever methods we have over here, we are demonstrating these methods. Create a string class object with some string assigned to it, and then perform all these operations on that string. It is very easy. Okay, or I will do one or two in this program itself. So here, if I do system dot, I will copy this one, just wait. Okay, I'm demonstrating that one. Control C. I will do concatenate. Concat already we did, so I will not do that one. So we will find out the length. Okay, length we will find out. So how come? Str dot length, length of. Okay, another one, two upper, we will character rate two upper also we will check. Okay, so system dot out dot, we are checking character at how much, 0 1 2 at 2, character at 2. Okay, uh, just print that one, character, sorry, plus character at of 2. Okay, then 2 upper, 2 upper we convert, and equals equal, compare to compare, these things not possible. So 2 upper I will show, 2 lower it is already lowercase, so we will see that also. If we apply 2 lower, what will happen? So first I will try to convert 2 upper. 2 upper means converting the string into uppercase. 2 upper of, yeah, here I think we have to apply this in this way, str dot. Okay, so 2 upper also str dot of 2 upper. We will see if we get issue, we will try to modify. Then same thing, 2 lower, 2 lower plus str dot 2 lower off. Okay, now save the program, compile it. Illegals, yeah, here plus we forgot to put, right? Here we forgot to put plus. Okay, close. Now still can't find symbol. Or you put like this, character rate it is not showing, na, error. Yeah, it is starting from 2 upper and 2 lower. I think here for 2 upper and 2 lower we need to pass like this, str. Here also str. This you remove. Save it. Now here you come and check, compile. Once again it is showing error. Okay, method string lower of string, we passed the string, right? Class scanner demo, we passed the string, then also it is giving issue. Okay, just put these two things in comments and we will see the remaining. Control C. Okay, here the method name, I'm thinking I'm not using the proper, yeah, 2 uppercase it is, so that's the problem. We have not used the proper method name. Str dot to uppercase. Case is also there, not to upper. This is what happens if you teach multiple programming languages. Okay, str dot to lower, because in C it is to upper to lower. Over here, to uppercase to lowercase. So now hopefully, yeah, here this is not required now. Okay, let's go compile. Yeah, it is successfully compiled. So now we execute. See here. Okay, character rate 2 v 0 1 2 v we are getting. Length, total length is 4 and 2 upper 2 lower. Likewise you can practice the remaining methods from this class. Okay, so here we have total 17 methods. So those 17 methods with description we have, and I have also provided the demonstrating program in your notes. You can refer that program also. Then string buffer class. Okay, to demonstrate this string buffer class, first we need to know what is this string buffer class and how it is different from your string class. Okay, it is also a predefined class. String buffer class, it is also a predefined class available inside your java.lang package, and it is also used to handle strings. Okay, and their objects, unlike your string class, string buffer class objects are mutable. Mutable means you can change the content. Like your user defined class objects, your string buffer class objects are mutable. Remember this one. So the difference between string class object and string buffer class object is this one, or the difference between string class and string buffer class is this one. Your string buffer class objects are mutable. That means you can modify the contents of your string buffer class object. Okay, string buffer is working with thread safe mechanism. Okay, thread safe in the sense, which means multiple threads are not allowed simultaneously to perform the operations on string buffer. This is also one of the important feature we are going to get when we are dealing with string buffer. Okay, so on your string class, multiple threads can use. Your string class, multiple threads can use simultaneously. There is no locking mechanism on this string class object. But when it comes to string buffer class object, it is mutable. That means it can be changed. Okay, it can be changed, and no two threads can access simultaneously, because its content are changeable. If two threads will access simultaneously, then what will happen? The synchronization issues will come, isn't it? Synchronization issues will come. So to avoid that synchronization issues, simply it is making thread safe mechanism. It is following thread safe mechanism. Thread safe mechanism in the sense, multiple threads it is simply blocking. When one thread is accessing string buffer object, other threads are simply put on wait. Okay, so inside the multi-threading concept, we discussed these things in detail, how two threads compete for execution, and I mean how we can achieve mutual exclusion simply by giving this thread safe mechanism. If your object is supporting thread safe mechanism, it is I mean it is protected from mutual access, we can say, or it is allowing mutual exclusion. Mutual exclusion is allowed means when one thread is accessing, the other thread must be kept on hold. Okay, string buffer class is working with thread safe mechanism. That means multiple threads are not allowed simultaneously to perform operation on string buffer. Okay, string buffer class object is mutable. That means when we create an object of string buffer class, it can be changed. We discussed this thing. Okay, so about this string buffer class. So here we have a simple program, and we have the list of methods, list of constructors. What is this? Yeah, the difference. Then list of constructors, list of methods, then the demonstration. So first we see how the object is mutable. Okay, string buffer, not string now, string buffer. So here also call the constructor of string buffer and apply the concat operation and see the what we call. I will put these things in comment. Okay, so now you see what we must get. Now we must get Java software, because the string buffer class object is mutable. It is allowing us to change the content. So simply go compile As you can see, the compilation, it is can't find symbol str. Why? Why it is not finding str? Are we doing any mistake? Acha, this concatenate method, it is not there inside your string buffer class. Rather, we have to use the append method. For joining two strings, we have to use the append method. Okay, so simply change that method name with append. So now compile. As you can see, it is successful. Then run. See here, Java software. Okay, string got modified. Object got modified. Previously, object was holding only Java when created, but now it got modified to Java software. So modification is allowed. Okay, modification is allowed. So here you can see the differences between string class and string buffer class. Okay, the data which is enclosed within double quotes is by default, it will be considered like a string class object only. Okay, so whatever data we are creating using the assignment operator, whatever string we are trying to assign, that string by default it will be considered like a string class object only. Okay, the data enclosed in double quotes, it will not be considered like a string buffer. If it is already considered like string, how it can be considered like string buffer? So it will not be considered like a string buffer class object or string buffer class. So by default, whatever data we are giving inside, whatever data we are enclosing inside double quotes to create a string, it will be treated like a string class instance only. Okay, string class object is immutable, but whereas string buffer class object is mutable. Okay, and string is slow and consumes more memory when concatenated with too many strings, because every time it creates a new instance. As the same instance can't be changed, we have to go for a new instance whenever we are doing concatenation. We have to go for new memory location whenever we are going for concatenation, because concatenating on the same string, it is not possible. Concatenation on the same string, it is not possible because the object is immutable. But whereas when it comes to string buffer, it consumes less memory when concatenating strings. And moreover, your string buffer, it is following thread safe mechanism. That also one difference you can write. Okay, so then the constructors, string buffer of int capacity, int string, then character sequence, all these things you can pass as parameters to string buffer class in order to gain or in order to create a string buffer. Okay, so then the methods, reverse, insert, append, replace, delete, toString, not only this, we have a list of methods. Here I have noted only the important ones, and we have the demonstrating program also that you can follow from the notes. The last type of class, string builder class in Java, it is also a predefined class inside java.lang package, and it is also used to handle strings in Java programming. And this class, string builder class, it is almost similar to string buffer class, and it is also a mutable class. Okay, it is also a mutable class in the sense the object which you create for a string builder, you can modify its content. Okay, you can modify its content. The main difference, I mean, then what is the difference between string builder and string buffer? In the sense, the string builder class object, it is not following thread safe mechanism. Okay, sorry, I guess your yes, string buffer, it is thread safe, but your string builder, it is not thread safe. Remember this one. So here if you read, the main difference between the string buffer and string builder is that string buffer is thread safe. This we have already discussed in our previous slide. Okay, your string buffer, it is thread safe, but whereas your string builder, it is not thread safe. String builder is not thread safe. This particular thing you have to remember. Thread safe means only one thread allowed at a time to work on these strings. Only one thread is allowed to work on the string buffer objects, but whereas multiple threads can access the string builder class object at the same time. At the same time, multiple threads can modify, multiple threads can access, multiple threads can use the string builder class object at the same time. Okay. So now the differences that only we are discussing over here, string buffer and string builder, and the main and most important difference is the thread safe mechanism, which is supported by your string buffer class and which is not supported by your string builder class. Thread safe mechanism supported by string string buffer, and it is not supported by string builder. Its methods are synchronized and provide thread safety. Because it is supporting thread safe mechanism, all its methods are synchronized. Okay, synchronized means only one method can access the string at any instance or at any point of time, but that thing is lagging in string builder. Multiple methods can access the string builder object at the same time because its methods are not synchronized methods. Okay, in multi-threading concepts we discussed about the synchronized methods. Okay, how synchronized method, synchronized block, everything we have discussed. Okay, then the performance of string buffer, it is slow because other threads has to wait until and unless the current thread releases the object. Because it's supporting thread safe mechanism, the other threads will be put on hold whenever they are asking for the resources in the string buffer class. But that thing is not there. Multiple threads at the same time can access the same same resource, the same string builder class object at the same time. So the performance, overall performance or the relative performance, if you are checking, it is very high when compared to string buffer class. And the last thing, the string buffer concept, it is introduced in Java's 1.0 version, but the string builder concept, it is introduced in Java's version 1.5. Remember this one. Okay, when we have to go for string buffer, string builder, in the sense if the content is fixed and if you don't change the content, then go for string only. If you're creating a string, like storing a name we can't change, isn't it? Name we can't change. So if within your program, if you're reading a name, so go for a string. Go for a string class object. Storing a name, go for a string class object. If the content is not fixed and keep on changing, but thread safety is required, then go for string builder. Like address. Okay, address of a person. So it has to be changed, isn't it? So we can't go for string. If you go for string class, it will become immutable. But we need a mutable string over there. And multiple threads we should not allow. If one person is changing the address, the other person should be put on hold, isn't it? So in that situation, go for a string builder and string buffer. And the last thing, if you don't need both, if you don't need immutable, if you need an immutable, that means if you need mutable, that means if you need change inside the string, and at the same time you want to allow multiple threads also to change that string, then go for string builder class. Okay, so concept is very simple. So string builder, it is also having 3 constructors, then a list of methods, and we have given the complete description and details inside your notes, as well as it is available on Java Docs as well. You can refer these 3 classes on Java Docs to get the full description about these classes. Okay, then we have the last concept in your string handling concept, that is the tokenizer class, the Java's tokenizer class. It is also a predefined class, but under java.util package. This is not there in your java.lang package. It is under java.util package and can be used to split the given string into tokens. The string tokenizer, already we discussed one such concept, isn't it? Dividing a string using tokens into dividing a string using delimiter into multiple tokens. That same concept to support, we have a specialized class in Java under your java.util package, and the name is string tokenizer class. So string tokenizer, as the name is suggesting over here, it will divide the given string into number of tokens by following a special character, or we call it as a delimiter. Special character or special symbol, we call it as a delimiter. So okay, based on the delimiter, it will divide the given string into small portions, sub portions, and each sub portion we are calling it as a token. Okay. Suppose that we have any string like features of Java language. So here they have given one example, features of Java language, and we are dividing, or we are splitting this string into tokens wherever we have the space. Okay, so what will happen, how many tokens you will get after dividing this string using space into number of tokens. So this is your first token, features, then second token of, then third token is Java language, because here we don't have the space. As you can see here, we have the hyphen symbol in between. So these three tokens, this complete string will be divided into three tokens. Okay, remember like this. So we are following space as the delimiter over here. Okay. After splitting, as you can see over here, features of Java language, like that we are getting. Okay, methods of string tokenizer. Important methods of string tokenizer, we have only two methods, important methods, that is has more tokens, next tokens. Has more tokens will check whether the string still having any tokens. If the string still having any tokens from your current location, it will return true. If it is not having, if you reached the end of the string, let us assume in this way, if you reached the end of the string, then this has more tokens method will return the false. Okay, if the string is having more tokens to read, it will return true. And if the string is not having any more tokens to read, that is, if the end of the string is reached, then it will return the false. Next token, simply it will jump to the next token and read that token. If you have like this your string 1 2 3 4 tokens, and if you are currently here, let us assume, then has next token, what it will do, it will jump to the next token and it will read that token. So like that. Okay, so here has more tokens, and the next token, already we discussed the action performed by these methods. Then we need to demonstrate the string tokenizer class. Okay, we'll go to the our edit plus, and there I will demonstrate this string tokenizer class. So a simple program demonstration we have over there. So I will take that same program. So instead of take one simple string str is equals to features, same thing I'm taking, features of Java language, features of Java programming or Java language, as a normal string I'm taking, and I'm creating the string buffer. Now string tokenizer, string tokenizer class. Okay, string tokenizer. So I'm giving the name like st, string tokenizer. New, the same thing we need to put here, string tokenizer, and pass the string, whatever string we have, that is str we have. So pass the string str and pass the token. We are saying using space you divide the string into tokens. So space is my delimiter now. So these things are not required. So just remove these things, and we need to take a loop now. So because we want to print all the tokens inside that string, so we need to take a loop now. So that loop while of, and how to break that loop on the string tokenizer if it is not having more elements, has more elements. Whenever it is having more elements, it will go to the next iteration. If it is not having more elements, means the loop will break. So inside it, what we have to do, yes, directly you can print, no need to go for one more step. So directly you can print that you print now system dot out dot println of simply print st dot next token, xt dot next token. So it will print that next token on the output screen. Save it. Okay, now go to compile. Okay, st dot has more elements, can't find the symbol st dot next token. What is the error over there? Has more elements, has more elements, that is, has the two method names I have written wrong. Has more elements, and here next xt. save it. Now go to tools and compile. As you can see, the compilation, it is successful. Now you run it. Okay, run it. Features of Java language. So based on the token you have, based on the delimiter you have supplied, the string is divided into number of tokens. Hopefully you understood this concept. So then go for the next thing. So another important operations that we can perform, I mean, so far we have seen the classes, and now we will see what sort of operations we can perform on these strings. So two more important concepts, two more important operations we can say, that is the comparison operation and concatenation operations. So two operations we will discuss, and how we perform those two operations on strings, that we will discuss, and we will conclude today's session. So the first type of operation which we can perform on the strings is the comparison operation. So that comparison operation, we have different ways. Using methods we can perform. There are three ways basically to compare string objects in Java. The first is using equals methods, using the double equals comparison operator, and using the compare to method. So when we have to go for what, we need to discuss. The first thing is equals method. Okay, equals method in Java. Equals method is used to compare contents of source and destination strings. If you have two strings and if you want to compare the objects of those two strings, then go for equals. It returns true if both the strings are same in meaning and case. Otherwise, it returns false. It is case sensitive. So if one string is lowercase and the other string is uppercase, and even if you have one character difference in case, then it will not return true, it will return false. Otherwise, it will return true. If both the strings are same in number of characters and in case also, if both are same, then it will return true. Okay. So one simple demonstration we are doing over here to perform the equals operation between the strings. So here, take one string. I mean, we need three strings now. String 1 equals to, I'm saying, let us say Java. 2 also I'm taking same thing. str2 equals to, take Java only, and third one you take something different, like str3 is equals to, I will take small Java, like this. Okay, like this we have taken. So first we are performing the comparison between string tokenizer it is giving. So system dot out dot println of, the first thing what we do the comparison between comparing strings between str1 and str1 and str2. So comparison what result is giving. Okay, so that is concatenate with str1 dot equals equals of string 2, that is str2, like this, and compare between str1 and str2. System dot same thing you copy and go to the next line, paste it, and here str1 str3 now we are comparing. So in the first case we will get true, and in the second case we will get false, isn't it? In first system dot out dot println, I mean in the first case we will get true, and in the second case we will get false. Here we are doing the comparison between the strings. So comparison, it is successfully compiled. So now go and run. As you can see, it is giving first is true and second is false, because the second is not matching in terms of case. The J here is in uppercase and J here is in lowercase. That thing is not matching, so it is giving issue. So the next thing, using the double equals to operator. Okay, the double equals to operator is used for comparing references of both strings and destination objects, but not their content. Okay, so what it will do, it will simply check the references, it will not check the content. Okay, that thing to demonstrate here, see S1 we have, even if they have the same thing, okay, even if they have the same thing, Java, it is not showing true. Why means, because when you are doing S1 equals to S2, it is not checking the content. Content means this one. It is not checking the content. Rather, it is checking for the address of S1 and address of S2, we can say. the references means s1 s2. As you can see here, in order to initiate s1 we have used a new operator, and in order to initiate s2 we have used the new operator. So s1 s2, these two are two different memory locations. So if they are two different memory locations, how come the references are going to be same? They're also going to have different memory locations. So because of that reason, there is no comparison between s1 and s2, and you will get the false over here. If you are getting false, then else part will be evaluated and you will get this message. Strings are not same. That message you will see on the output screen. So quickly, using the double equals to operator, how we have to do? Simply remove up to this, because we don't need st3 now. So now what we have to do, if at all my str1 equals to str2, okay, then print a message, system dot out dot print ln of strings are equal. Strings are equal. Okay. Now dot dot close. Okay. In the else part, what we have to do? Same thing. Strings are not equal. Control C. Here you print. Come down. Here you print not. So what we will get on the output screen, in the sense we will get not message. Okay, because both the strings are not equal, we will get not message on the output screen. Let me just, okay, compiler, see, okay, then go and run. Strings are equal, it is getting. Why it is getting equal means because we have assigned, and both are string. Okay, we have assigned. So instead of assigning, what you do? Okay, what you do? Use the new operator. Okay, new of, use the new operator to assign these two strings. So now different memory locations. New string of. Here you go and put like this. So now different memory locations. So compile, success. Now as they are different memory locations, you will get not equal. See, even though they are holding the same content, but it is giving some different output to you. The reason, because they are holding the different memory locations. Okay, hopefully you understood this one. So now next thing is compare to. Compare to method can be used to compare two strings by taking Unicode values. It will convert the strings into Unicode and it will do the it will do the comparison. It returns true, it returns 0 if the strings are same, otherwise returns any positive or negative value. The difference where it is differing, that value it will return. In case if they are different, if they are same, it will return 0. If they are different, it will return either positive or negative based on the mismatched character. If the mismatched character in the first string it is greater than the mismatched character in the second string, then it will return a positive value. If the mismatched character in the first string it is lesser than the mismatched character in the second string, then it will return a negative value. Okay, this thing we discussed in your C language. Hope you understand over there. So I no need to explain that complete elaboration once again, because Java means basic level we will not go. Only we will do like we will recall and we will move ahead. Okay, so simply go here. So to perform that one, the last method, right? That is no concatenation methods also we have after this. So the compare to method. Okay, compare to method. So take two strings str1 and str2 here. Yeah, str1 I'm assigning like same thing Java, and str2 I'm assigning like programming. Different strings I'm taking, programming. Okay, so next yeah, here same thing, and as we said, if two strings are equal, it will return the what we call 0. So if str1 dot compare to of str2, if both are equal, what it will return? It will return 0. If this thing equals to 0, I mean if these two things, when you are performing the comparison, and if these two things, if it is returning true, then so here we opened 3, right? So here we need to close one more. Okay, so I think now it is correct. Yes, 1. Yeah, this thing is closing over here. So yeah, if this thing is true, strings are same, or strings are equal. If this thing is not true, strings are not equal. So just go compile, compare to, no, to compare to, spelling mistakes I'm writing. So it is executed now. Then run. You can see strings are not equal because we have taken different strings. They are not equal. So just go to the slide now. Demonstration we have done. Then the next concept, string concatenation. Concatenation is nothing but joining two strings together, isn't it? There are two ways to perform the concatenation on string objects in Java. Concatenation is nothing but joining two strings together. And this concatenation, how we do, the first approach is using the plus operator, okay, or string concatenation operator. And then the second one is using the concat method. We have two different approaches to perform the concatenation of strings. The first approach is using the plus operator, and the second approach is using the concat method. Okay, string concatenation operator, plus operator, can be used to combine two or more strings together. This many times we used in our programming. So whenever you are concatenating inside your SOP system.out.println, whenever you are concatenating an object to the existing string, what you are doing over there, you are using the plus operator, isn't it? You are using the plus symbol. So that plus symbol, what it is doing over there, it is concatenating the remaining content with the already existing content, isn't it? So just go here and practice this one. I guess no need of doing this thing, but simply, so yeah, here plus I'm joining another one, programming, here itself. So now what you will get on the SOP, system.out.println of str1. Okay, what you will get here, you will get the complete elaborated string, that is Java programming, you will get on the output string. See, it is saved. Now go compile and run. See here, you are getting Java programming. If you want to get space in between, how come? Because it is giving a single thing. So attach space also, like this. Attach the space also. Now what we are doing, this is my first string, this is my second string which is having only space, and this is my third string. So three strings I'm joining together into one single string, that is str1. So if I compile and if I run, I will get Java programming with a space now. See here, Java space programming we are getting. So this is how we can perform the concatenation. And the last operation on strings, that is a concat operation, concatenation only, but with the help of concat method. Okay, concat method is used to combine two strings, join two strings together. And this is the demonstration here. Instead of yes, yeah, as you can see, if you print that s1 dot concat s2 on the output screen, because s1 is immutable, you can't change its content. So because of that reason, what we are doing, we are storing the result into a third string and we are printing. Okay, so here string 1 you take like Java. Okay, string 2, string str2 you take like programming. Okay, then go to third string, string 3, string str3 equals to, make it like str1 dot concat of str2, close it, put the semicolon at the end. Now print str3. So you will get the concatenation. Okay, you will get the concatenation. Now see, those two things will be clubbed together, joined together. Yeah, it is successfully compiled. Then run it. As you can see, Java programming, the concatenation of these two we are seeing on the output screen. So with this, we are concluding the complete string handling in Java. So we discussed three different classes like string, string buffer, string builder, the differences between these three classes we discussed. And we have also discussed the string tokenizer class, which is there in your fourth unit. under java.util package. So we said the first three classes, string, string buffer, string builder, they are part of your java.lang package. But whereas the last class which we discussed, string tokenizer, it is part of your java.util package. Okay, we have a few more classes to discuss inside your java.util package. Then the regular expressions we need to discuss, and with that we conclude the syllabus of 5 units in Java programming. Okay, oops, using Java. Okay, Java programming we need to discuss more, like the as we promised, we do it after the second internals. The concept of collections framework, that is one session, and applets and servlets another session, and lastly JDBC, the one third session. So three more sessions I'm expecting after your mid exams. Okay, anyhow at that time you people will be offline, you people will be attending labs. So in the labs, if you do the stuff practically, you will understand more. Okay, I mean, so far what we have planned, okay, but we don't know how the government and how the institution will give the response. At the department level, we have planned in this way. So we thought of conducting the offline sessions from the 1st September onwards, and that is for labs only so far. Okay, so I don't know how the things will go. I mean, what the government will decide. If the government will say to keep the colleges closed, remained closed for some more time, we have to follow the instructions, isn't it? Anyhow, as you have seen in the first wave and in the second wave, uh, the life is going on. Okay, whatever is happening in the uh, country or in the world, nothing is stopping over here. Everything is moving. Exams they are conducting, externals they are conducting, grades they are awarding, okay, results they are announcing. Everything is going on, nothing is stopping. So you too have to push and you too have to move as it goes. Okay, so don't wait for some call or something to happen. So rather be busy with your work. Okay, thank you very much, students. Okay, in our next session we will continue the further concepts.